Hi YouTube, it's the 18th of the 4th, 2012, and we have unusual events going on in Canada, in the province of New Brunswick, city of McAdam, and this is a description of it. Springtime in McAdam, a tiny village in southwestern New Brunswick, not far from the Maine border, is like springtime in most other parts of Canada. Locals chatter about the NHL playoffs, the garden they are planting, the grass that needs cutting, the fish they can't wait to catch, and the cottage they can't wait to get to, once the warm weather really settles in. Lately, however, an interloper has elbowed its way into the community's daily dialogue, pushing aside the playoffs, pushing its way to the very top of the talking points. Everybody is talking about the earthquake. They're asking, Blair, did you hear it? Did you feel it last night? Everybody is talking about the noises. Some people will say yes, others might say no. It really depends on what you are doing. If you're quiet at home and there's a lot of noise, you're probably not going to feel or hear it. But if you're banging around, or if the kids are banging around, you sometimes won't know if it's the kids or if it was an earthquake. They're about the same magnitude, I guess. Residents were initially rattled about 1:40 a.m. on March 10th by a 2.4 magnitude earthquake that was followed 3 minutes later by a 1.4 magnitude aftershock. People described hearing what sounded like an explosion. Pictures fell off the walls, window panes rattled, floorboards creaked and groaned. Some houses even shook, while locals initially felt a surge of panic that eased somewhat by morning with the realization that a bomb had not gone off, but a small earthquake had. 3 days later, 2 more earthquakes, and in the 5 weeks since there have been about 35 additional shakes, a steady tide of minor earthquakes and tremors that is a popular topic of conversation among villagers, and a seismic anomaly that scientists can't really explain. What is happening in McAdam is something called an earthquake swarm, says Stephen Halchuk, a seismologist from Natural Resources Canada. It is a series of earthquakes which is rare, but what is particularly unusual about what is happening in McAdam is that it is basically happening directly beneath the village and at a depth of less than 1 kilometre. When these earthquake swarms occur, they are typically in a remote area where nobody feels them. Mr. Halchuk can't say how long the earthquakes will continue for, or if a big one capable of causing serious property damage and endangering lives could be lurking amongst all the little ones. We can never say never, he says. I wouldn't rule out a very large event occurring, but typically in situations like this, the magnitude of the earthquakes is modest and doesn't increase. Researchers from the University of New Brunswick addressed community members at a typical town hall meeting Monday night, answering questions and assuaging lingering fears. One working theory they have to explain the quakes is an early spring thaw. A rapid change in groundwater levels could perhaps be causing the underlying rocks to slip and stress, unleashing the multiple shocks. Connecticut is another tiny town with an earthquake problem, one dating back hundreds of years and which today is the basis of the local high school team's name, the Noises. The noises in McAdam, meanwhile, have been described by the locals as a loud bang, a boom, like dynamite being blown up, and a loud thud, like someone falling out of bed. Natural Resources and UMB have installed 3 seismographs in the village to monitor the situation and to flesh out their working hypothesis. Thanks, YouTube.